We'll do it live.
We'll fix it in post.
Well, this is off track to start the podcast. Welcome back. It's We Were Gamers. This is a special episode. It's been a while, JJ, but we've been doing something kind of special in the background of some episodes in the past, and it's been a little bit of time since we've maybe checked in, let's say, to preview our little thing here.
Yeah, we've had an agent out on assignment. And we have brought him back in-house. It's our good friend Zer0 C00L.
Hack the planet!
Yes.
Hack the planet!
So Zer0 C00L's been on assignment playing some of our dearest game, Knights of the Old Republic, and we've had a little bit of scheduling and some holidays and some kiddos, and life's hard. People can't play games all the time, and you can't talk about them all the time. But to finish off our Knights of the Old Republic assignment, we thought, what better way to listen to the last transmission? What better way to wrap it up than to have Zer0 C00L on the pod? So it's been a little bit of time, but he's back. Welcome back, sir.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. I mean, it has taken... I realized that I think I started playing this almost a year ago, so I've been pulled into, I think, your guys' gaming rhythm right now.
Low and slow.
Yeah.
It's a simmer, not a broil, you know.
Yeah.
Right.
Funny how it worked out because, you know, I've been playing it off and on over this last year. My assignment. And
all right.
I'll leave it at that.
Yeah.
We'll talk. We'll unpack that.
Well, you know, one of the comments that we heard a couple times during your transmissions, and I want to talk about it before we hear this one, because you might bring it up again, was that you were concerned that, like, sometimes you went off tangent or sidetracks or other stuff like that. And I had to say that I think that I got the most kick out of your sidetracks. They were amusing to me. JJ, thoughts?
Yeah, I think in true podcast fashion, no one comes for the thing your podcast is about. Everyone comes for all the side tangents and the interesting stuff that you do on top of the normal thing.
Oh, dear. So what was a good tangent? I don't know.
I just know that that's like some feedback that we got about your transmissions that we had aired in the past. So I know you may... I haven't listened to this one yet, but I know that you may don't apologize for going off on a tangent. Just, you know, let your mind wander if that's where it's going.
Oh man, which transmission is this?
So we're gonna line up and we're all gonna listen to and do some commentary on your Starforge segment, the end of the game, so that we can hear.
God, yeah, the Starforge level. My God, that there was everything came unwound there.
Oh, good. Okay, great.
Yeah,
preview action.
Yeah. I mean, the bugs inherent, like I guess within the Mac version of the game.
I want to hear about these at the end because we heard in the very beginning a few things that JJ and I didn't quite remember being in the game. So we were wondering if they were Mac bugs or if the emulation was bad. So we'll get to that in a little bit.
Oh boy, yeah.
But
the Starforge level. I mean, okay. that was anyway. That was tough. Okay, we are back. This is Zer0 C00L. I am hitting a wall of frustration right now. I'm still playing this. I've somehow managed to make it to the Starforge level, which I think is the last level of the game. It's a wonder I made it this far, but I made it this far, and I've been at this for, what did I say this? Sorry. I've been at this for almost more than an hour. Uh-oh. For a game with so many controls and so much like granular detail over what accoutrements I would wear or anything, I have no control over my guys. I can tell them to just hang back and they go anyway. And there's forking paths in this Starforge level, So they all go in different directions, and there's just an onslaught of dark Jedi coming at me constantly. They don't seem to stop. I thought maybe they stopped. I went slow. They just kept coming. So I just have to keep going. And you have no control. So my guys just go off and they get themselves killed, and then it's just me, and then I try to, get to somewhere where maybe it lets me reset and bring everyone back alive, but it doesn't. So I apologize. This might sound like a vent, and it is a vent. But I can't seem to progress, and I've gotten this far, and I don't think I'm going to be able to get any further. But I've tried it. So here we go again. Star Force.
So you had to restart from the beginning?
Third save.
I played this level so many times.
Want my party to ignore these chain gun turrets and go the other way.
With tens of times, or
yeah, tens of times, definitely.
Oh my god!
No. I've never heard an inventory referred to as accoutrements before.
Let's go, guys.
I kind of like it. It sounds like a fun thing.
Let's not stay. Let's just move along. Grenade guy.
I like I'm just gonna bomb the level, straight down the mountain. Don't stop for trees.
Who is shooting me from?
If you stop, you're dead. I mean, they don't stop. The Dark Jedi will swarm you.
All right, move on, guys. No, just leave them behind. Ignore.
I don't remember having so much trouble with my men.
Store here, and keep going.
I think that might be a Mac bug.
So if I'm in solo mode, they don't stay solo. They charge.
Yeah,
they charge
I'm trying to think. I feel like there were ways to give your allies commands, but
basically run for our lives.
He's saying that
to the next space.
That the commands didn't work.
Yeah.
Some more Dark Jedis.
That seems like a problem.
That might be a bug.
Jeez. Yes. That's what you think. So my other guys are not with me. They've gone off to fight the chain guns, even though I told them not to go. Come this other way. Actually, they're fighting two other Dark Jedi. They're in a completely different place than my main character right now. I'm going to tell them to disengage and just fucking run. Come help me over in the other one before we all die here. Help Jolie Bindo and all these other guys.
I like Jolie Bindo. What did you feel about Jolie Bindo?
All right. Third member of the party. Leave these guys alone and just run. Just run. Dodge the fire bolts, the purple haze. Just run.
It affects your brain.
Sorry, I'm having a flashback.
We need all the...
Is this traumatic for you?
Yes. Yeah. I don't know what to say.
Zero Cool's sitting under his desk, curled up in a ball right now.
We're going the other direction to where he was, so now we're crossing paths again. Stay here, guys.
They wouldn't stay still.
We need to use this computer because we need to turn those turret guns off. All right, we survived. We're in this computer room. I've been here before.
Many times.
I need to make myself some special Jedi robes, which I think makes this a little easier.
That's funny.
Generate custom robes.
Oh, the Jedi robes. I'll tell you about that after this. They're like dresses.
This is so stressful.
They make you really
powerful.
powerful.
Last level of the game. It's the last level of the game, It's supposed to be a little stressful, right?
Robes,
and giving you cool stuff near the end of the game is a fun little idea.
I sliced the computer. Yeah. I got the Jedi dresses, these white Starforged dresses. I'm thinking, had I decided to be a dark side character, the robes would have been cooler.
That's actually true. Yes,
these long white dresses that look
really
ridiculous.
As
my character
seems to be a problem in games like this. When you choose the evil path, you end up doing more cool stuff.
You look cooler on the evil path for sure.
It's more fun to design evil clothing.
We need to fight our way out of
something
here.
to that.
I disabled the chain guns.
So I'm in this computer room, and you disable the guns, and that's supposed to make it easier.
And we need to fight our way out of this room now, because in the meantime, 4 Dark Jedis have appeared to block our path out. So here we go.
Was the real-time combat something that really bothered you, or was it okay with all the pausing?
I got used to it. Like many things with this game, I got used to it.
Freeze that guy too. jeez. How many Dark Jedis are there? They don't stop.
Dark Jedi's all the way down.
There's more coming. Oh, stop. Freeze.
What happened to your running plan? Just run.
Yeah, I get there for sure.
Oh, jeez.
Oh no. I don't remember this level being crazy.
Okay.
But I also
New
a lot of
strategy.
the
I think we just need to run for it.
there it is.
They're not stopping.
I like it.
These guys. Let's just run. Everyone run. Alright, run. Just everyone use your force speed and just run for the exit. Someone just sickened me. Someone slowed me down. We're crawling. We're crawling. Okay, I got one guy to the elevator door.
Plan foiled.
Let's get Jolie to the under. No, disengage. Go. No. You stay there.
Did you play with a controller or mouse and keyboard?
She needs
Mouse
to
and
come
keyboard.
to the door with us.
Yeah, I hear clicking, so
I wonder if there was a controller mod
So,
for this game
pausing it
that
again.
could have made the controls work better.
You may recall, I think I mentioned this before, this bug that freezes the
yeah.
character after a combat episode. That is happening a lot on this level. So I got one character now. It's just not moving. It's unplayable. And the only way to get him back is to save it and reload from this position, which I don't want to do because that means all these Dark Jedis were going to come back.
Oh no.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just going to have to leave her here.
That's horrific. I'm so sorry.
No, they're both frozen. Oh, jeez. It's unplayable.
Wow.
All right.
I didn't realize, man. I mean,
we're back.
the Xbox versions that
Second
we played
player
in the
is
past
making
were
a
definitely
run for
not
the elevator
this
door.
buggy. And it makes me worried.
Where I left one of my other party. Stay in there. All right. You two
Recommend
both of
this
you
game
know,
anymore.
Stay here, man. All
yeah,
right, my
man,
last
I
character.
really didn't know this was so
These
bad.
two run for your life.
Run for your life.
Fight and run. Take away all these things. Jedi speed. Run. Just run.
I'm trying to get to this
Ignore
exit
these
zone
Dark
where it all
Jedi guys.
stops,
No,
you know?
Guys, come back. We're going
Yeah,
this way.
yeah.
We're going the other way.
And it's
We're
like
coming back
it's like
this
herding
way.
cats trying to
We've
get everyone to
almost
go in the
made
right
it.
direction.
Oh my god.
And ignore the enemies too, right?
Elevator door. Okay, everyone, let's leave. You need your whole party to progress. Come on. Oh, jeez. All right, guys, I'm not sure I'm going to finish this game. That last little sequence was really hard.
I hear talking, though.
I got through it.
But
Yes.
still, on the dark side. Darth Malak.
Oh, there's the big old twist right there.
Yeah, but still,
Meditation. You know, this game, a lot of time is spent with this battle meditation power. Apparently, it's really helped. Confrontation is coming with Darth Malak. Coming up next. Stay tuned. Dear God.
Like the end of transmission. Dear God.
that level was really challenging, and maybe it was the bug, and maybe it's my lack of real skills, or it's probably a combination. But yeah, I would have this thing where you have a party of 3 people and you control one of them, but then after a battle with one of the Dark Jedi, that character wouldn't move anymore until you switch to another character. Now that character will just follow along, and that was happening a lot. And then I just decided the best strategy was to just run for the exit like I'm playing Gauntlet or something. Like, get the wizard, get the Valkyrie, go, and get one of them to the exit, and then switch back to somebody else, and now have that person go to the exit, and then hope that the person I left at the exit will stay there. But then oftentimes they were running back to join me, and it was just in that particular level with all the different routes you can take, I guess, it became really hard. So anyway,
I guess the burning question is, did you finish?
yes, I finished it.
Ah, nice.
This is yeah. I finished it because it was my assignment, guys. I had to do it. I knew you guys. I'm like, these guys are gamers. They're going to be like so disappointed if I don't actually complete this. So, it took me a while. But yes.
Honestly, after the struggle that you sounded like there, I don't know if I would have blamed you for just giving up and uninstalling the game.
Man, if I had heard that many bugs were in a game, I just would never have recommended it. I really feel bad. We look back fondly on that because the system was new when it came out, right? The idea of this type of RPG system in an adventure you could choose to affect the characters so greatly, right? Light side, dark side, and it affected your game, and you managed an inventory, but it was still kind of real-time combat. And it was Star Wars, and the story was, you seem to have picked out the Darth Revan thing early. I don't know if you picked up on the Bastila foreshadowing, but the story wasn't bad at the time. It was a good, memorable story. So,
well, I frankly, to be honest, I cannot just chalk this up to bugs in the game. Let's face it, guys. I am a gaming moron, and I'm playing a game that I think is what is the name for this type of game again? With the stuff, the stats, and everything.
An RPG?
Yes, it's an RPG game, and I don't play RPG games, so I was figuring stuff out. For an embarrassingly long time, I did not know that you could do the med packs that help your health. I didn't know you could use those in the equip screen for a long time. So, you know how you have moves in a battle? I'm like, well, I need a med pack, so my 4 moves in the battle are taking med packs while this other guy kicks my ass. That happened a lot before I realized, like, oh, I can equip these, take the med pack, and then set whatever moves I'm going to do in the battle.
Right.
So stuff like that, I can't just say it was the bugs. I have to, confess that I'm not a gamer.
Well, it's not the easiest system to grasp. It was pretty complicated at the time,
also, it definitely came out in a time when there wasn't a lot of Star Wars like there is now, right? Like, well, I don't know now, but it's, Star Wars is big again, right? And I feel like this came out in a time like right around or near the prequel movies coming out when like, oh, this is the first time there has been Star Wars in like 20 years.
And the game Star Wars games had kind of ebbed. There was no more X-Wing TIE Fighter series games. There was no more of the Dark Forces or Jedi Academy games.
It was kind of like the first new one in a while.
It was the...
What was the timeline exactly? Because I played Jedi Academy, actually. That was a modern game I did play and kind of dug it,
Yeah. So Jedi Academy was like a 90s game, JJ?
No.
2000, like very beginning 2000?
Yeah, early 2000s, I would say.
Whatever the...
maybe.
So there's the problem right there. I played it on a Mac. So that was a new game to me at probably mid-2000s or something.
Oh, yeah. Probably didn't make it to the Mac until...
Yeah, that's why. So in my head, they came out around the same time as each other because that's when they were available for the Mac.
Right, and Knights of the Old Republic was a video game that was only available, I think, on the Xbox initially. The very first Xbox.
I think the first release was the original Xbox. Yeah.
Which also came out.
That's going to be the like very late 90s or early 2000s, like 2001, 2002.
Oh wow!
It was before we graduated high school, so it had to have been before then, right?
Yeah. So I think that the maybe my memory's off, but I feel like the video game series, though Jedi Academy seems to be around at the same time in my memory.
But
I
think
kind of
that
like ebbing. It wasn't what it was.
That series, Jedi Academy, though, was a series of PC games, whereas this started as a console game. So like the little different paths to various places. And like as you saw, this game did eventually come out everywhere.
Well,
and I think
I remember playing it secretly on my G4.
hidden from the world in the middle of the night.
Yeah, exactly. In probably mid 2000, I would say it might have been almost like 2008 or something. But so that was a new game to me. I'm usually 10 years behind, at least, modern gaming. But okay, so I will say this. I know you guys feel bad about this assignment, but it was a really thoughtful suggestion. Since I don't play RPGs, but I do like Star Wars, this actually, and maybe this is how it was for people when they first played it, was a really gentle introduction to a lot of the principles of these types of games. And I did, after initially just being bewildered by the structure, I did start to figure things out.
It's a much lighter structured RPG than, say, a game that I've talked about recently on this show was a game called Bravely Default, which is a newer... It's not an action RPG like this where the combat is so quick. You get time to think about your moves in combat. But outside of the combat, I mean, there's a dizzying amount of equipping and like spell resistances and side quests and all these sorts of things to distract you from even playing the game. There's a joke in that style of game that half the game is menuing. What do they call it? What's the term, JJ?
Gosh, I know exactly what you're talking about, and I can't think of it. I feel bad.
Well, generally,
but like
those
you spend, it's a menu game where you're spending, the whole time. You're playing the menus, and you're not really playing the game, right? Because you don't have time to look at. Yeah.
You're playing the interface, and I avoid those types of games because I'm like, I don't know, a lot of what I do in my in the straight world involves working with interfaces, and so it's not really fun to play a game where I'm also running an interface and not actually playing it,
Right.
Now that aside, I thought, for what it was pretty fun once I got over some serious problems. I liked how you could use different characters and then use them strategically. It kind of reminded me of like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, for the NES, where you could like certain characters have certain skill sets for different situations. So that was kind of cool.
Oh yeah, definitely.
And the right person is always Donatello because his attack is the longest.
Usually Donatello's the way to go, but he's so slow. So you have to you have to decide, do I need to be quick or slow right now? Because, I need the reach of that weapon. And I wasn't killing green slimes all the time or like for half the game in order to... So all of that kind of worked okay. I mean, but I was baffled and bewildered frequently as well. Like, why does my character at point blank range with a freaking like a lightsaber in his hand misses 5 times in a row right there, just swinging this thing in the air and just misses? I'm like, God, my character must really suck, or I'm doing something really wrong.
So one of the interesting things about Knights of the Old Republic is that in the original, I think you could turn this on, but you certainly can do it with mods on the PC. Underneath what you're seeing is actually pen and paper Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah, it's actually like very, very close to a Dungeons and Dragons system under the hood. It's like rolling dice, and if your number is higher than a certain other number, then it counts as a hit, and it rolls another dice, and that's how it deals damage. Yeah.
So what you're seeing is
yes, I saw that scrolling along, like these number callouts and stuff, and I thought it was just broken.
Yeah, so no, the number callouts is literally it's rolling random number generators in the background to see what's happening and comparing attack values to defense values and doing all that stuff in real time. And that was kind of the nerd in me that was like, I'm playing Star Wars Dungeons and Dragons in live action. This is amazing.
Yeah, there was definitely an appeal to that. Thank you for reminding me about that, Andrew. Boy. I'd kind of forgotten that part of the systems.
I think I just tuned that out.
It's rad.
I tuned that out. I was I'm sorry guys. I'm just I was less interested in that and more interested in why how can any human being miss a target that's right in front of them if they're holding a lightsaber that many times?
Oh, well, and why when you hit, right, does he not instantly die? Well, they came up with there's these, this is the Old Republic and lightsabers are everywhere, so there's technology to repel lightsabers,
Video game logic.
Yeah, I guess so.
We have to make you play a game here. That's why.
And story-wise, I guess it was okay. I certainly saw the Revan thing coming, but there was a lot of talk about this guy, and I'm like, why does everyone keep talking about this guy? He's kind of irrelevant. He disappears at the beginning, and then I'm like, wait a minute. But then I was so terrible at this game at the beginning, trying to figure out what to put on and why it was important that I wear these things at these certain times. That I felt like I was doing something wrong and that I needed some sort of like instruction from somewhere. And I was specifically avoiding anything that would tell me the plot, but I kept seeing these references here and there to Amnesiac Revan. And I'm like who is Amnesiac Revan? That's very strange. But I ignored it. But that coupled with all the very obvious hints through the storyline made me start to think, could it be? Maybe not.
It's not the most subtle plotting, let's say.
Now,
when they announce it, it's so monumental in the game, and I'm like, really? Really?
I think that in the game universe, I remember there being supplemental information out there that basically, Revan kind of rifted the entire galaxy, and so it was kind of a big deal to the characters that this guy wasn't just straight up put down. You know what I mean? Like, oh, the Jedi Council tried to rehab the most mass murderer that we can remember in time, So I don't think that comes through maybe exactly in the game. I actually felt like that the Revan thing was a nice little red herring, right? Oh, the biggest twist happened, and then the Bastila thing at the end was to me a bigger twist.
That she goes to the dark side?
That she's not dead, yeah, and she gets turned when if you went light side, she's actually the biggest, light sider in the game.
I went light side, incidentally, about those choices. Because I don't see how you could go dark side unless you're just really trying to.
So that game has a thing where if you want to be evil, you have to just be a jerk to everyone. And so it's kind of, if you're role playing, it's kind of awkward. You feel weird. You're like, I really just have to be kind of a jerk and like mean all the time for no reason. Just like this person says something to me, screw you, guy, I'm gonna kill you. It's just like, oh, that's just hostile. It's like very, at least for me, it's out of character, so I don't tend to end up role playing as the evil characters for those kind of reasons.
What was interesting is with your companions, though, the decisions were much subtler. It was like, out in the world, I'm going to just straight up kill people because I'm evil, and the easiest way to solve this is obviously for me to stick a lightsaber in that person. Oh, no, that's evil. But when you came back to your ship, when you started to have conversations with people on your ship, you could, really make Carth mad, right? And that would turn you dark side, and Carth would be mad at you, or I can't remember the girl's name, but with the Wookiee, you could slowly start to turn her to the dark side, and then actually, spoiler, you could make her kill her own Wookiee, so that she would have to rely on you instead of him.
Mission. Oh my god. Now I'm remembering all this stuff. Yeah.
The companion stuff is.
I didn't get into that so much, guys. I mean, I was trying to complete my assignment.
So the companion stuff was really something kind of new at the time, I think, to say, there are these other supporting characters, and they have stories, and those stories are part of your stories, and you have to, advance them.
Carth is the worst, though. I would have just left him on the first planet, but you don't have a choice.
Carth
you can't ditch any of these people.
Worst.
He's he has trust issues.
I certainly did not keep Carth in my party. Ever.
Yes.
Oh,
I don't think that I did either.
That's interesting.
He was not my homeboy.
So who was your typical party then? Because you guys are gamers, so you probably played it more than once. I'm guessing at some point. Yeah.
I actually did use Jolie Bindo quite a bit.
He was the right. Yes. I think
Gray Jedi.
I kept what's the guy's name?
HK-47.
Yes.
Yes.
No, I'm not.
I don't.
Yeah.
He's just his voice actor was so funny, and every time we went into battle, he was just screaming about murder. He's wonderful. Even if I didn't actually I was playing a light side Jedi, I still kept him in my party just because his comments and stuff about we should just murder this guy.
And then when you choose not to, his comments were great.
Yes, he always had a snarky comment about how you're dumb and you should just murder this guy.
Well, that's the replayability, right? Because like in theory, the different characters, if you choose to have them in your party, they'll say different stuff at different moments in the game.
Yes, exactly. They all react differently to different scenarios.
You know, the thing is, how am I going to say this? The droid stuff in Star Wars in general, overall, has always been like one of my less, the parts of it that have been less interesting. But there's plenty of room for someone who's really into the droids to modify them and upgrade them and give them all sorts of new things. I didn't use them much. I was just sort of like, the fucking droid. What am I going to do with that?
The R2 unit is really valuable, actually. You can skip a lot of the frustrating parts of the game by having him slice through things.
Oh, well, I think my main character actually was like the middle ground person. So I think they were able to do a lot of that as I built up my skills. So I didn't need the droid.
And this is one of those older type of RPGs where it really rewarded like one-dimensional characters. So this is my slicer, this is my combat guy, this is this, because you had certain limited amounts of points. So if you were all-aroundering them, then you had kind of not bad, but like not the best character at certain things.
It definitely had that, like the limitations of the D&D based kind of system built into it, where if you wanted to specialize, your character became insanely powerful. If you try to all around it, then the game is a lot more challenging and maybe interesting.
I think that's what I tried. Well, I'm not sure what I tried to. I was like that middle category, and then usually I rolled with Bastilla would come along and Carth, the Mandalorian guy, because he could like recharge his health, and that was my usual team. I never took Carth. I never really took Mission. I kind of felt bad because she seemed, she's kind of nice and all. So she didn't come out much. Who else was there? I never took the droids unless like they were really needed. That was my team. I thought the Mandalorian recharging ability was pretty handy. Even though he couldn't have a lightsaber, but I don't know. I don't know if I played the game right, guys, to be honest.
I don't think that there's a wrong way to play it. I think they sort of built it to allow you to do different stuff.
I think I played it pretty wrong several times. I had a lot of like not being a person who plays this type of game very often. I had a lot of like hard learning lessons along the way.
Do you feel like with this coming, it's not the most modern game you've played, but it's certainly one of the more modern games you've played. Do you feel like the extra systems in there? I know you play and probably are currently playing a lot of SNES titles and stuff like that. Do you think that you?
What do you mean? I retreated to the classics after this. I was so.
See, exactly. I knew it. I knew it.
Okay. I guess you just know me. Yeah, I've been playing. Yeah, I don't know. Should I admit this? This is embarrassing.
Yeah, go for it.
Sid Meier's Pirates, awesome. That's a computer game.
Okay.
Yeah, that was cool. That was captivating me. And then I think I was talking to Andrew about this. I sent him a transmission. Lord of the Rings for Super Nintendo.
That's a game I didn't even know existed.
Same.
Yeah, it's Volume 1. It's before the movies came out, and it's pretty bad, but it has RPG qualities. I think they tried to. But
sure.
not really all that sophisticated. But I don't know why I picked that one up. That was just one I never was able to beat as a kid, and so I revisit games a lot that I was never able to beat as a kid, and try to do it again, and fail.
You know
again.
what? They're not any easier.
No, they're not.
It's really actually kind of frightening when you go back. You're like, no wonder I never beat this.
Yeah, and you're like, this. I know why I put this down. It sucks.
I read somewhere someone referred to something as Nintendo hard, and I'm like, oh, that's a term now, and it's so true.
Yeah, I actually had a funny interaction with a younger generation. Somebody was playing Candy Crush on their phone at our house one time, and I said, "Did you ever play like any classic video games?" And she listed off a bunch of things, and I was like, "No, I mean like." Super Nintendo or no, I've never touched that. So I plugged in the Super Nintendo and I put in, Super Mario Brothers. We didn't clear the first world, guys.
Wait, you have a Super Nintendo that you can plug in?
Oh yeah.
Oh, Andrew, that warms my heart.
Oh yeah. I keep most of my Nintendo systems around.
Really?
Yeah, I got rid of my Sega systems years ago just because 3/4 of the games I'm interested in are also Super Nintendo games. So there was really no point in keeping them around just at Play Sonic. That I didn't really enjoy that much. And so I've got a decent backlog of Nintendo stuff here. And I have my Atari 2600 still, actually.
Oh, no way. I've been wanting to play Atari 2600.
Okay, well, next time I'm in LA, where I'll just truck it up there.
You should. My God, I'd love to. I'd love that. Yeah, I remember the Atari 2600.
Yeah.
I think that
I just have my SNES Classic. That's all.
Oh,
I have
yeah.
at the moment.
So I don't know if you've actually seen this, Zer0, but they have a new system out called the SNES Classic. They have one called the NES Classic. JJ, describe the system, the size of it, what it does.
So it's I don't have a good comparison, but it's not much bigger than maybe like 6 inches by 10 inches or something. But it's the same form factor as the Super Nintendo, and they just shrunk it down to a tiny size. Right? It obviously doesn't fit any carts or anything because it's too small.
Huh.
But it has the little power buttons in the same way. All the colors are the same, and 2 little ports on the front that you plug in normal. Well, not normal, but you can plug in controllers, which then look like Super Nintendo controllers with the same buttons and same layout and same colors. And you turn it on, it just pops up to a little interface that says, "Hey, which game do you want to play?" And you can scroll back and forth between I think there are 30 on the Super Nintendo Classic by default. And they've got the stuff you want. You got Mario World, Super Metroid, Final Fantasy VI.
Super Metroid, right?
I don't remember what else is like Mega Man.
Yeah.
Oh wait, no, not Mega Man X.
Mega Man X.
Maybe just.
Yeah, that one was
maybe
great.
just X. I don't remember all the stuff that's on there. It has some of the Donkey Kong Country games. There's a whole bunch of stuff on there. It's like 30 different games, almost all like Super Castlevania 4. Almost all of the ones that are great, except Chrono Trigger, is my complaint.
I think that's everyone's complaint is that there's no Chrono Trigger on there.
Yeah,
Chrono Trigger.
But it's a little system, and I think the thing cost like retail price is like $60, $80, I think. And they have an NES version of this, which is the same thing except that. Instead of being a mini Super Nintendo, it's a mini regular Nintendo.
Okay, so full confession now. I'm aware of the NES Classic, and I have been eyeing it. It's very hard to find. But
yeah,
I totally
they're tough.
Because
the Super Nintendo one is more available.
I didn't keep my NES, unfortunately. They're
expensive if you want old ones.
Yeah, I kind of wish I did. But I also heard that you can hack them and add more games to them, and that was the
yes, you can.
The aspect of it that most intrigued me, I must say.
you can actually hack them and install RetroArch, which is a open source emulator, onto them, and run not just more games. You can run other systems games. You can play Nintendo games on it, like regular NES games on your SNES Classic. You can then play, I think it even is powerful enough to play some like PlayStation 1 games and stuff emulated on there.
JJ, that's awesome. I did not know. So you can use the SNES Classic and run NES games on it.
Yes, absolutely.
Whoa, okay, that's blowing my mind.
And I think I
thought I had to get the one device and then hack that one.
So you can just do that. There's a way to plug it into your computer, through a USB port and download new games onto it, and it will do that absolutely. It'll happily store many more games than are included in the box. There are some that don't work or they have compatibility issues. There's all kinds of wiki pages and stuff out there to figure that out for people who are interested. But it also RetroArch is an open source emulator that you can install on there, and because like under the hood, all it's really doing is, there's a file on the piece of memory that thing has. It pulls it up and goes, "Hey, I need to emulate this," and there's an emulator installed on there that runs the Super Nintendo games. Well, there are also you can install your own emulators, right? And then it'll just use those to run your Sega Genesis or your NES or whatever other kind of games you have.
Interesting.
So, yeah. So it's not a giant thing. You can't install like every Super Nintendo game or something, right? It doesn't have enough space for that. But I think you can get a good number of games, like 50 or something on there before it starts running into issues.
Huh. Well, I'm going to look into it. Secretly, but I'm going to look into it. No, there's a lot of NES games that I've been kind of like wanting to play again on something other than a computer emulator, which I have done. But
there's something about it, about not emulating it, and like I didn't really consider plugging in all my old systems, but when I plugged in the SNES to try it out and make sure it worked and all that sort of stuff, there was something really fascinating about picking up an old system and like touching physical old games. You know what I mean? Like actually not having them emulated and plugging the card in and just the simple nature of how they look and how they play with only very few controls, and it was kind of cool. I have to admit, I haven't done that in a long time.
I think that's 90% of the way I play, actually, in general.
The feel of it is definitely something.
It's definitely more tactile than like saying. I've actually been playing a lot of StarCraft Remastered recently, so you know I'm sitting in front of a computer slamming 70 different keys on a keyboard and like panic stroking the mouse and bouncing around the screen, and I don't feel connected to the game as much as overlording the game, and
that's the one with the planes and the Fox pilot guy.
Say what?
Okay, maybe it's not. You said StarCraft?
Yeah, you're thinking Star Fox maybe?
Oh.
Yeah,
no,
StarCraft is a
I know
computer
what you're
series.
About. I know what you're talking about.
Oh, right,
yeah,
sure.
Yeah. No, I wasn't.
JJ, I think we might have to change our next assignment game.
I don't know.
Okay, I was thinking of the. Anyways, I'm sorry. Let's change. Move on.
Well, so I guess the recap on your Star Wars: The Old Republic experience is, maybe it was interesting exposure. The story was okay, but at the end of the day, the grind of it and the frustration was too much to handle, as well as having way too many bugs to enjoy it.
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, I gave it the college try, and I beat it.
Well, you finished it, so that's a little bit
it wasn't
more.
Completely unenjoyable the whole time. I mean, there were some cool aspects to it. There were sort of it took me a long time just to get over the initial hurdle of what the heck is all this stuff, and I did a lot of silly things like just not putting the earrings and the headbands on correctly, and it took me a long time to really get used to the idea that you couldn't just fight somebody. You had to like dial in your moves, and plan ahead to some degree. And I didn't like that at all at first, but I just sort of adapted to it and sort of like, well, this is how the game works. There were things I got stuck on objects a lot. I would just get stuck between rocks and that was it. I can't leave that area. And those are bugs. And then there were things that I just learned as I went along the way. Yeah, so that's my recap, I guess. I don't know.
All right. Well, if you don't hate us too much...
I wasn't that into the water suit.
I don't think that was a very good level, actually.
No one is going to defend. No one is going to defend that.
Flashbacks of Ocarina of Time and the Water Temple, and I'm like clonking along here, and I'm like, God, these guys. I'm like, I think this game came out after that. I'm like,
yeah, definitely.
Who still thinks this is a good idea to give your character this? You're doing, anyway, yeah.
I certainly we got the most responses about the boot sound just going bonk 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 bonk.
It goes
bonk,
on
bonk,
forever.
Bonk, the entire time we listened to
10
it.
minutes, and I'm like, oh my God, like why someone and some program is really proud that they've made this work, and it's really into it, and yet the end result is I'm listening to this on my speakers. I'm turning it down because I'm like, God, I got to put the suit back on again, and I'm gonna start clunking through the bass anyway.
Well, if you don't hate us too much, I think we can solve for all the problems you had with a different assignment.
I don't. Honestly, it was... I know you guys were hesitant and worried, like, oh, maybe we did a wrong thing. But no, actually, it was a very thoughtful... because how are you going to get me, Zer0 Cool, into an RPG-style game? Star Wars.
That would be probably the only way.
That's an excellent way. Well, Star Wars. And I'm like, well, okay, I'm intrigued because it's Star Wars. And, so I got into it more so because of that. If it had just been Wizards and Warriors, I probably would not have done it. And probably the only other thing close to it, not to double back on a tangent, I guess, but Lord of the Rings. I'm a total Lord of the Rings geek from the books from early on. So,
well, we're gonna file that one away for the future because there's a very expansive universe of Lord of the Rings games.
Well, the thing about it is, I was as a kid, I and I was a complete geek about it. I was really into the books. As a kid, I really wanted. I was like, why isn't there a really good Lord of the Rings game for Nintendo or Super Nintendo? So much so, and I had no recollection of this, but I would play other games that I would name the characters after Lord of the Rings and pretend that it was like a Lord of the Rings game. That's a really embarrassing confession, but I did it. So I'm just setting up that by the time they actually did come out with one on Super Nintendo, it was such a disappointment. So
Confessions of an old nerd.
Oh yeah, and I still haven't beaten it. You get lost in Moria. Moria is like a maze that never ends. It's what do you call it in these? And this game had it too. The Knights of the Old Republic had it too. But what do you call it where you have 5 steps you need to do before you can actually do what it is you're supposed to do in the story? Like, so you got to go retrieve this and bring this to this person and drop this there, and then you got to deliver the mail for so and so and bring so and so his lunch, and then you're and then you can now open the door that was right there the whole time. There's
questing.
What's that?
Yeah,
questing.
That's the term.
Yeah, that's questing for sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
There was a lot of that. There's a lot of like retrieve the honey.
It's pretty much the standardized trope in moving these games forward, right? Is like go collect bear pelts.
Yeah.
Or like you need 3 gems to open this door. Each gem is in a different hallway, so go over to each of those places.
Yeah, and this game is notorious for that. You've got 5 gems and 3 scrolls you need to find in the most obscure places before you can actually open the door to Moria. But why would you want to? Because you're going to get lost. It doesn't matter. You're going to get lost. There's no mapping system. The password system is like 5 lines long. It's bizarre.
All right. Well, let's strip all that away. There's no more questing.
We might cut that out because that might be just too weird of a tangent. But seriously,
no, it's fine.
That game is bad.
Okay.
It's just bad, and it's fresh in my memory because I was playing it. But I tried to revisit it. Maybe I'll like it this time. Now I'm older and stuff. No, it's bad.
I often find that that's the case. Like, maybe I'll enjoy this. Nope. Still hate it.
No, it didn't. Your initial impression was correct sometimes.
Yeah, and it a little bit. And this maybe goes back to the bugs discussion with Knights of the Old Republic. It is. You do have to consider that as part of your assessment of it. Like, because there are some serious bugs in it that make it unenjoyable.
No, absolutely. No, you have to take bugs into account. You can't.
Right, the bugs factor in, but there are other games like Super Ghouls and Ghosts for Super Nintendo that I also haven't beaten that I revisit a lot, where you feel like at least it's a fair balance. You know what I mean? Like it's just your skills that is keeping you from progressing. It's not the interface and the fact that you're having to trick it to work in the way it's supposed to. You don't have that to contend with. So it's more like. It's more like one of those kinds of games than the game where it's just like, no, you're just not quick enough. Sorry.
All right, well, let's strip all that stuff away. We get a game that we know the interface works properly.
No, wait a minute. I'm going to do this again?
No, you don't want to do it again?
Well, I was being really... Oh, well...
There's no quests in this next game.
Experience. I'm hesitant. I have to say, guys, what are you guys? What are you gonna throw my way now?
Oh no, it's not that bad. It's really not that bad. It's shorter.
Okay,
it's much shorter.
Much simpler.
Is it Candy Crush?
Well, no, it's not Candy Crush.
No.
We will not assign you a phone game.
Also, you're not. We can't assign you Candy Crush because there's no end. It just keeps going.
That would be a really good prank, actually. Zer0, you should go play this game and beat it and tell us how it goes, and then you never hear from me again. Because I would think I could beat this. I zero in on things. That's why I really eventually got through it, because I'm like, I have to figure this out. It really bugs me if I can't actually complete something.
Well, I guess with this game, if you don't cheat, you may get stuck.
But there are. It is a.
Cheat?
No. I'm just saying, like,
unless you cheat,
there's a chance if you're. Look, this is a good game, and there's no way that you'll get stuck. But let's say there's non-0% chance that will be hard at certain points, but not lack of. Not for bugs or for interface problems, just because we're going to give you a puzzle game.
It's a modern puzzle game.
Oh yes.
Like Tetris.
No.
Okay.
So it's going to appear like a platformer.
Because I played Tetris a lot on the Game Boy. It was pretty cool. I still have.
This is more of a physics puzzle game. It's a third or first person shooter, kind of like you look like you're
Quake.
Yeah, like Quake.
Is it like Quake?
Yes.
Yeah?
Or actually a lot more like Half-Life.
I never played that one.
You may not know Half-Life.
All my references are 20 years old. I played a lot of Quake.
Half-Life.
Unreal Tournament.
Do you know that Half-Life is over 20 years old?
Well, then I guess I didn't get to that one. Honestly, I played Quake. Played Quake because for some weird reason, Nine Inch Nails did the soundtrack for it, and I really like Nine Inch Nails.
I think didn't they also do the soundtrack for Doom?
I really tried to like it because I'm like, well, if Nine Inch Nails likes this, I should like this game. But it's really.
I don't know that that's my barometer for good gameplay.
Well, I'm not.
Yes.
But I wasn't a big gamer. So I really tried to play it. But some people are into that. I'm not into the just shooting, like nonstop shooting.
Okay, but this isn't just shooting. There's no. You don't like actually. Your gun doesn't shoot people.
Correct.
It's just
the gun does not actually deal any damage whatsoever.
It's just that style of
really
visual.
It is used. It is absolutely a gun, but it is used for puzzle solving, not for shooting.
Like, this guy's in my way. I need to get through him. Like that.
There aren't really kind of guys.
Okay.
There
really
are
guys.
no other humans in this game, in fact, other than you.
Okay. I'm baffled.
Okay. The game is called Portal. Portal. And it's from the company Valve, who you've probably heard of. They're very famous for their marketplace now called Steam.
No.
And their games Counter-Strike or Dota or Half-Life.
Half-Life.
You guys are dragging me kicking and screaming into the modern era of gaming.
Well, this game is not new.
Portal came out in 2007.
Oh, I have no idea.
So we're still over a decade ago. We're easing you in here, sir.
Okay. All right. I'm I don't know.
But I know the object of this game is that when you run around with W, A, S, and D to go forward, back, left, and right, and you move your mouse to look around, when you shoot your gun with the left button, it will shoot a blue portal, and when you shoot your gun with the right button, it will shoot an orange portal. And you can travel through the blue portal and come out the orange portal.
Or vice versa.
Or if you travel through the orange portal, you will come out the blue portal. And
then you use that mechanic to solve
how to get out of the level that you're in.
Rooms. Yeah. It's like, you just have a room and there's a giant pit in front of it. How do you get to the other side?
You are essentially a rat in a maze.
And
there is like Smash TV or something.
Actually, a little bit of the conceit. Yeah, there's a semi-omniscient presence, let's say, watching you, and kind of giving you some
motivation.
Yes, motivation. And so, your goal is to get out and maybe accomplish some science while you're doing it.
By getting out. I guess I'll just have to try it.
I'm really very, very curious to see if you're going to enjoy this
I
or
am
not.
dying to know when there's these dead pauses where you guys are not talking. I'm dying to know what you guys are thinking.
Well, we're not in the same room, so we're not staring at each other going like, oh my God, this guy.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, my references aren't yeah.
I have no idea. I know that when I initially played this game, I found it maddening in some cases where I was stuck in a room and I couldn't figure out the thing that it needed me to do in order to escape. And then when I figured it out, I felt like a genius. And I was like, oh my God, I'm so smart. You can do this on this and then over here and then jump and then do blah, blah, blah. And then, oh my God, yes. And I wonder if that will translate.
I have never been so frustrated while enjoying something sometimes. Like very many times I'm frustrated by a game. And as JJ has witnessed, I will essentially rage quit and no longer play it ever again.
Mm-hmm.
This has gotten me into scenarios where I'm like, there is literally no way that I understand how to do this, and I will stare at it and walk away from it for a day, and then come back and be like, why didn't I just put a portal there? What was I doing that I did not look around this room?
I was so mad
and put a
and
portal
then there's
there.
Just one thing, and you just do the one thing, and you're like, oh, everything's very easy. Why didn't I notice this?
And this game is pretty famous for what JJ called the omniscient presence and the storytelling in the game. There's actually quite a rich story that develops over the course of it, and the ending is quite surprising, what happens at the end. So if you make it through to the end, there is a very enjoyable...
Watch all the credits.
So
well, the credits are great, but the last level or two, JJ... with with what you get through and what you go through in the game, there's an extremely satisfying ending. I've never felt like, oh, okay, like this not, you felt disconnected from a lot of it until the end, and then it all kind of threads you slowly pull on come together, and then you have to watch post credits because it's like one of those types of things.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's
is it even something I can play?
Absolutely, yeah.
No, I don't mean like can I play it? But is it like technology wise? It
came out in 2007. I hope so.
So there's a Mac. There's a Mac port.
Oh, there absolutely is a Mac version. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
And you can play
I'm intrigued.
Or parts of it with a controller on your computer if you like.
Or you can play it with a mouse and keyboard. It's equally doable. I'd say both ways are easy because I have played mine on a PC and I have played mine on a PlayStation. And a Mac.
Interesting.
Yeah, the minimum system requirements for Mac OS X are low.
So what is my assignment then, gentlemen?
See if you can get out of Aperture Science, sir.
Then do I need to complete it?
Well, I mean...
The assignment has never been that you need to complete them. The assignment is to tell us why you disliked or liked it.
All right.
If you get stuck so much and you hate the game...
Don't ever finish something you hate.
Playing,
we hope to assign you something that you will have never played and that you enjoy.
But again, it's like the slippery slope with me because I'm a completionist.
This game is not long and it's not hard to complete.
This game is let's see. My total playtime in this game is less than 5 hours.
I did notice, jumping back to Knights of the Old Republic, that there is a counter on your playtime.
Oh yeah,
mine was pretty embarrassing.
Over 100 or less than 100?
It was like there was a lot of time doubling back and figuring things out.
Actually, I think it didn't count the time that I played when I actually beat it. That's interesting.
Portal went through a reset when they added cards to all the games. So
yeah, I think that's what happened.
You may have lost your playtime.
Okay, that makes sense. I'm like, 5 hours doesn't seem like long enough. I definitely sat in one room for an hour at one time.
When they added the new... they added the new ending to Portal 2, right?
Yeah, I think.
How many
so
of these are
I
there?
think there's 2 Portal
One.
games.
Ah,
Portal 1 is the one you should play.
okay.
Portal 2 is also fun, but
But
maybe only if you decide you like this one should you consider that one.
Okay. All right.
No, Portal 1 got the new ending.
Color me skeptical.
Yeah. The very end of this game got changed slightly when the second one came out.
Right. I appreciate your skepticism, but I have much more confidence that you will actually enjoy this than the other one. After hearing, basically, I hate RPGs, and then we assigned you an RPG.
There's
But
literally
this was a soft one.
No,
It got
there's-
me into the notion of an RPG. You know.
there's
A modern one.
nearly no menu. There's basically no statistics.
There is no equipping of anything.
Yeah, you just just
Equip
play
your
the
brain,
game.
sir.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. All right. I'll give it a try, guys.
All right. Well, I think we convinced him. This was fun. Zero Cool segments need to continue, I think. Please
agree.
stick with us.
All right. I'll give it a try. I will try it out.
All right, JJ. If people want to send their advice for Zero Cool on how to play Portal, without direct spoilers, where should they send them?
They can send it to podcast@wewergamers.com, which is an email address that we read. There, you can hit us on the social media. We are at wewergamers on Facebook, on Twitter, on Instagram. Follow us on all those platforms to hear about the latest shows and whatever else we're up to. You can also give us reviews on your podcast store of choice, both Google and Google Play and iTunes. We appreciate those reviews. And yep, I think that's it.
Should we teach Zero Cool your parting phrase?
Meh.
Hack the planet.